Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods, Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, June 7th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Now that the Arnold Classic is back in business, we've already seen a few athletes go on the record to say that they're planning to bring their talents to Columbus, Ohio. And just last week, the reigning and defending New York Pro Classic Physique champ Dani Younan became one of the latest people to add his name to the list. Even if we take what he did in New York out of the equation, historically, Dani's always done well in the biggest moments, and I don't see any reason why that would change here. In a lot of ways, I think Dani's name gets left out of the conversation when people talk about the best 5 or 6 athletes in the division, which is a mistake because there's no question that he belongs right there in that group. So if he can leave Ohio with a win, that alone could be a game changer in the sense that it elevates his status as a serious top 3 Olympia threat. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you guys know that Mark Twain is the person who came up with the quote, "Dance like nobody is watching"? I would have sworn that was from a movie like Dirty Dancing or something, so it kind of blew my mind when I read this morning. But that quote being tied to Mark Twain still somehow feels like it's less surprising than seeing the improvements that Andrei Lincan's made this offseason. For all intent and purposes, Andrei took all the momentum he had from his top 6 Olympia finish last December and ran full speed with it right into this year without even breaking a stride. I know there's been a lot of talk about Brandon Hendrickson going for his 3rd overall title and Ray Edmonds trying to get himself back on top, and even the rise of guys like Aaron Banks. But people shouldn't sleep on Andrei. He's got the tools and the opportunity is there, and he can step up and seize the moment. I've said it on the record that I'm excited to see what happens in the 212 division this year. There's a lot of moving parts, big names, and new faces that make this whole division feel like it could be a Wild West. But you might see a shootout on any given night. And I'll tell you what, if Lucas Cuello ends up being as good as advertised, he could be the last man standing after some of those battles. Now, if you're staring at these pictures trying to figure out who the heck he is and why you haven't heard of him, it's because he only competed once as a pro, and that was back in 2019. My sources down in Brazil tell me that he's basically spent the last 2 years getting himself ready to be a viable contender in this division. And 6 weeks from now, he's planning to show everyone how viable he is when he flies out to the Chicago Pro. And considering that we've already seen guys like Tonio Burton and Nathan Epler shake things up in this division already, having Lucas come in and do the same thing feels like par for the course at this point in time. And finally, I want to end today's show with a somewhat of a philosophical question for you guys about Flex Lewis and whether or not you think we'll see him on stage in the open division at the Olympia this year. We have heard reports from Flex's camp that he's training hard and trying to get himself back into his old championship form. But there are also reports floating around out there that he's still about 25 pounds from back when he was dealing with a few injuries, which is not an insignificant amount of muscle weight on a guy his size. Yes, he's a 7-time Olympia champ, and he's one of the most genetically gifted athletes of his era. But the open division is a different thing, and it's not the place to be if you're trying to play catch-up. That being said, we're still 18 or 19 weeks out, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse, which is why I'm asking you, do you think Flex Lewis competes at the Olympia this year? Let us know in the comments below. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.